7 o'clock is 7 o'clock.
Welcome, everyone. Today is Monday, June 1st, 2026, and this is a regular meeting of the City of Asbury Park Planning Board. Chairwoman Kurzak, can you please call this meeting to order?
Yes, this meeting is being held in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975. Adequate notice of the meeting has been provided to the Coaster and Asbury Park Press by publication of the annual meeting notice and posted on the municipal bulletin board and municipal website. All notices are on file with the board secretary. Official action may be taken on the following matters before this board. This meeting is being recorded by APTV for your viewing pleasure. Please join me to salute the flag.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll now take roll call. James Bonanno.
Here.
Councilwoman Clayton.
Here.
Jim Henry.
Here.
Mayor Moore.
Here.
Jen Souter.
Here.
Daniel Shenameo.
Here.
Bob Zucker is recused from this application. Kathy McLaughlin. Here. Vice Chair Goonan.
Here.
And Chairwoman Kurzak.
Here. I just want to put on the record that, is there anybody waiting outside that could not get in? Would you mind just looking? No? All right, so everybody that wanted to come is here. Excellent. Okay, first item on the agenda is a resolution for 208 Main Street, Johnny Mac House of Spirits. Can I get a motion to approve this resolution?
I'll move that. Second.
All right.
There is a typo in the, I think paragraph 3.
In paragraph 3.
Oh, catch it later.
Okay, as long as it doesn't change.
It doesn't, it's a word missing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right, next item up is. We've.
Motion second.
Oh, I thought we already had that. Okay, go ahead.
So there was a motion, there was a second. Okay. We have Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Jim Henry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Clayton.
Yes.
Jennifer Souter.
Yes.
James Bonanno.
Yes.
Daniel Shenameo.
Yes.
And Chairwoman Kurzak.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, we have, our next item is application for 320 Asbury Avenue.
So, Madam Chair, as the team gets up and is getting ready to present themselves, we did receive a letter from council for the applicant regarding something that occurred at a public meeting prior to our last meeting, that public meeting being a mayor and council meeting. And there was a board member who made some comments at that public meeting about specific developments in, I shouldn't say specific developments, but developments in the waterfront redevelopment zone. And it was brought to my attention, and I had an opportunity to review the meeting on APTV of that meeting. And it was my opinion, after seeing that, in order to avoid a potential bias and in order to ensure that there's a fair hearing on this matter, we have discussed with Mr. Scanameo that I suggest that he would recuse himself from the remainder of this application and not participate here on the dais. He does not lose his right as a member of the public. He does not lose his right as any other person would have the right to speak. It is my understanding that Mr. Scanameo would like to make a comment about that.
Okay.
On May 12th, I received a letter from Board Counsel that Council for Asbury Partners and the development affiliates sent a letter dated April 17th requesting my recusal from any application before this board involving the master developers or its sub-developers projects. My recusal was demanded because of comments I made as a private citizen and an Asbury Park taxpayer for 22 years concerning Asbury Partners and Madison Marquette's failure to meet their obligations to restore our historic boardwalk buildings at a March 25th City Council meeting. Absent my voluntary recusal, the master developer has threatened to sue the board. Let me be clear. They have not merely alleged that I have personal bias against the master developer and its projects in the waterfront development area. They have found me guilty of the charge. Accordingly, I think I am owed the opportunity to defend myself and my reputation. Firstly, as a planning board member, I have not voted against any project submitted to the board by the master developer or any of its development entities. I do not think I have voted against any project in the waterfront redevelopment area submitted to this board. Secondly, my comments made at the city council hearing were made as a private citizen and taxpayer, and not as a planning board member. My comments were clearly made to the city council and how they should deal with Asbury Partners and Madison Marquette's failure to meet their obligations under the waterfront redevelopment agreement within the scope of the law. I merely recited facts and the truth, and that seems to be very unpopular today. In fact, I find the request for my recusal to be endemic of what seems to be commonplace in this country. Powerful entities using bullying tactics to squash free speech they do not like. But more importantly, I think I need to address the issue of bias. That is something I know much about. For 4 decades, I have been involved in the valuation of real estate in high-profile litigation matters in the New York metro area. I hold the MAI designation from the Appraisal Institute. The Appraisal Institute is the leading organization of real estate appraisers in the world and was founded in the aftermath of the Great Depression and the failure of the banking system. The underlying mission of the Appraisal Institute is to foster public trust in real estate appraisals and a commitment to competency and adherence to a code of ethics and standards of professional appraisal practice. We're crying above all not being biased. Not only am I professionally subject to those ethics and standards, but also as a certified general real estate appraiser in New York and New Jersey, the highest level of licensure. By law, I am also subject to the uniform standards of professional appraisal practice, which arose from the Appraisal Institute standards and also requires no biases. In fact, the continuing education for both private designation and licensure certification require me to take periodic courses on bias. Standards require that all of my work is accompanied with a written certification that I have no bias in the matter, that I have no personal interest, and that my conclusions are not predetermined. So you see, Ms. Smith, unlike you, I cannot be an advocate. I am also on the roster of neutrals of the American Arbitration Association. Let me repeat that word, neutrals. I have presided over many proceedings as a neutral, which of course requires me to be unbiased. I have also been qualified as an unbiased expert witness in a myriad of local, state, and federal courts, and I have testified as such at depositions, arbitrations, and trials in excess of 100 times in 4 decades. I have appeared as an unbiased expert witness for Fortune 500 companies, major developers, and a variety of government agencies, including the U.S. Department of Justice. I have been appointed by courts to be an unbiased neutral appraiser between parties. I have been involved as an unbiased expert in most major cases in New York City, including the 42nd Street redevelopment project, Hudson Yards, Atlantic Yards, the 2nd Avenue subway, and the Gateway project for Amtrak, a quasi-federal agency bringing a new tunnel under the Hudson River into Penn Station. I was appointed as the real estate appraiser for the consortium of insurance companies that insured the World Trade Center for the damages in the aftermath of 9/11. My point is that I know something about the issue of bias. My career for 4 decades has been dependent upon my unbiased actions and the recognition of the real estate and legal industry of my competence and integrity. Now, the master developer and its counsel have called that into question, which I find insulting and a personal affront. I'm quite capable of expressing my personal opinions as a private citizen and taxpayer about what I consider to be the truth and facts regarding the failure of the parties to meet their obligations to restore our historic boardwalk buildings, and at the same time, to fairly fulfill my obligations under the municipal land use law of the state of New Jersey as a planning board member in assessing master developers' applications. However, Because I have a commitment both personally and professionally to the spirit of the law, in fact, my livelihood has depended upon it for decades, I understand that it is not actual bias, but the appearance of such that matter. And since Asbury Partners and its counsel has now unfortunately raised the ugly specter of such bias and has threatened to sue the board if I do not recuse myself, I will agree to do so to spare this board and my fellow members such unnecessary drama. But be assured that while I recuse myself from considering the master developers and its affiliates' applications as a board member, I will be present as a private citizen and taxpayer and will continue to speak as such. Thank you to the board.
If we have somebody with a set of balls, this man is.
So as a procedural matter,
I need to follow up, please. Okay, I'm going to follow up a little bit. As mayor and the council, we encourage people to come to the meetings and to voice their opinions. This is not in any way a negative stance against Mr. Beekman or his decision or any board members. A decision had to be made, and I simply disagree with it. I would be shocked if someone did any research and saw that Dan ever voted against his conscience, usually in favor of the applicant after restrictions or amendments were put in place. I did a little research and never found another case like this. Were there cases where members of planning boards went out and campaigned against applications? Absolutely. And were they disqualified? Absolutely. But making a public statement at a city council meeting, I can't find a case like this. I would trust this board with my life. I have total confidence they will continue to ask the pertinent questions and eventually make the correct decision. So therefore, I understand that Starfield has demanded that Dan Shanamayo recuse himself from the hearing tonight and all future hearings on their projects because of some general comments that he made at a council meeting about the state of development in our city. I've known Dan for years. He's a man of tremendous honesty and integrity. I've always known him to treat every application before this board with absolute fairness and on its own merits. But because of Starfield's demand, Dan has recused himself from the hearing tonight. I'm sure he's doing that so he doesn't create any problems for the board. I strongly disagree that he should be put into this position. He, like every other citizen of Asbury Park, should be free to express their opinion on matters in our city, especially at a city council meeting. He did not make any comment on this particular application and should not forfeit his right to hear this application or future ones. Because I do not agree that he should be forced to step aside tonight, I will stand with him and I will step aside. I ask the rest of the board to conduct your usual fair and honest review of the application and make your decision accordingly. So therefore, I recuse myself from tonight's meeting.
ready?
Yep.
All right.
But
So-
before we proceed, we do have a couple members who just have to certify on the record that they've listened to all the tapes. I think everyone here has either been at all of the meetings or has certified now that they've listened to all the tapes and they've provided an affidavit. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So as a procedural matter, I do want to mark the letter dated April 17th as Exhibit A10 for the record.
Yep. And Marie, you have that letter, right, in the file?
I do understand we've been before this board many times over the course of many years. And not every application is one where everyone's in agreement. And we have never asked anyone to recuse themselves before. That's not something we've ever done. This situation was different. You have the letter. You know what the statements are. You can watch them for yourselves. We are not in a position here of trying to silence people or tell people that they can't have opinions. But we do know but we do know that each one of you has taken time out of your day to be on this board, has volunteered for a position that's unpaid and frankly rather thankless to be here. And we appreciate that. And we know that each one of you knows that the planning board is a quasi-judicial body, different than the council, different than the mayor. Those are legislative bodies. As a quasi-judicial body, we know that the planning board is here to listen to the facts on each individual application, and that you've listened to the facts on this one, you've listened to the facts on others, and at the end of the day, you'll listen to the facts of the case, whether presented by our witnesses or by the public, and we'll make a decision as a quasi-judicial body. So we appreciate your efforts to do that, and we are sorry that it had to come to this, but we appreciate that their recusal has been made, and we look to move forward with the application. So with that then, I thought I'd reorient kind of where we are in the application process. So this is an application for Block 3801, and I guess I never identified myself for the record, so I should do that. I am Jennifer Phillips Smith with FBT Gibbons. Block 3801, Lot 1.02, as you all know, is the triangular lot that comes at the intersection of Cookman and Asbury. We are here tonight seeking minor subdivision approval, as well as preliminary and final major site plan approval, and relief from the design guidelines. We are not seeking any variances, nor are any required. We were here previously both in March and April, where we had our engineer and 2 architects and planner each present on the case. This application is for 67 residential units, 50 units in the multifamily building, 8 in the mixed-use building, and 9 townhomes. This has been a process. We actually originally submitted an application to this board to the TRC in 2022. At that time for this block, we proposed in March of 2022 a project with 154 units in a 6-story building that filled the entire block. We presented to the council also in 2022 in May that project, and it was determined that it was too intense. It was too dense, too many units. So we came back in 2024. We withdrew that application, filed a new one. We've submitted this application to the TRC in September of 2024, and it's down to 67 units. As I said, 50 units in one building, 8 in another, 9 in another. We appeared before the council on March 26th of 2025, and then spent months addressing the council's concerns, and ultimately revised this project multiple times to address the concerns of the TRC and the council. The council approved the design and layout of the buildings as part of a resolution approving the subsequent developer agreements, and that was in November of 2025. In those resolutions, the council found that the projects were in compliance with and effectuated the redevelopment plan. We signed 2 subsequent developer agreements in December of 2025, which had the plans for these buildings attached to it. Now, at the end of the last meeting in April, the question came to whether we would be revising the plans or moving to public comment. We have decided to move forward with the plans as they were approved by the council. That doesn't mean we're taking any of the changes away that we already made from the planning board, but we decided not to further revise the plans following the meeting. Now, we did make changes to the plans over the course of this application, or commit that if this application were so approved, that we would agree to those changes as part of resolution compliance. Those changes included, for example, adding the paver strips between the townhome driveways, shifting the pedestrian walkway to allow for the buffering of headlights for cars exiting the garage. We agreed to adding more fencing and a gate, board-on-board fence, along the townhome drive aisle to shield the headlights. And at the last meeting, we also agreed to put a screen on the balcony behind the mixed-use building so that there would be screening where there's windows on the multifamily building. With that, though, because we are not further revising the plans, we are at the point where we have put all of our witnesses in, and I believe we are ready to move towards public comment.
As part of our packet for this week, there was an exhibit labeled A9. You're not presenting that today.
So A9,
It was a revised site plan that had like the fence and the sidewalk shifted.
that was actually already submitted previously.
Was
Yeah, that's already part of the packet. We did have some drawings we submitted but not marked that showed different colors.
Right.
But after consultation with the redevelopment council for the city, we believe if we changed the colors, we'd actually have to go back and revise the subsequent developer agreement. So the council approved the colors that were previously submitted, which were the white with the wood tones, and so we're going to stick with those.
Oh, can you repeat that again? Then that the,
Sorry. Is this not being picked up, or?
no, you'd mentioned that if you did change the colors, then what would happen?
That we would actually have to go back to the council for approval to change the colors, because they were such an integral part of the building design.
Ah, okay.
So with that then, unless there's further questions, we would say that we're ready for the public comment portion of the evening.
Right, so just so I'm clear, so A9 that we received with the sidewalk moved, with the fence added at the end of the townhouse driveway, that's in the record, that's what we're approving. We don't
Right.
have to make those conditions.
Correct.
Right,
That's
so-
on there.
If I remember correctly, A9 was an exhibit that was brought at the last hearing, but it
Correct.
wasn't submitted in advance of the hearing.
Right.
We
So
just saw it here.
what
Okay.
was submitted was
Glad we got it in.
to provide the electronic copy of that document.
Correct.
Understood.
And so that within, what you just mentioned was that, I just want to make sure that we already have it in here, about the concern about the 14 spaces, that there'll be enough shielding so that the lights do not go into the next property. I think that you just mentioned that, or is that true?
So we had shown the additional fencing over on the portion of the site plan along the drive aisle by the townhomes. 'Cause there was
Right.
comment about people pulling in
Okay,
and out
so
of the townhomes.
so that there's no danger of any spillage there.
We showed the fence there.
Okay.
Barbara, we can always include those,
Yeah, that's why I want to make sure that we have.
even if they're already in.
Okay. We have quite a few of those. Okay. All right, so then does anybody,
Madam
said,
Chair,
well, yes.
before we go to public comment,
Yes.
I just want to check with our engineer and planner if they have any comments, so we'll just swear them in.
Absolutely.
In case. You swear or affirm that the testimony you will provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right, can I get a motion to open to, go ahead. Oh, you have a comment? Go ahead.
Yeah, so, Sam and I have looked at these other exhibits, and there was some discussion about the realignment of that walkway from the cove
Right.
and the accessible parking space in the surface lot. And I had suggested to the engineer an alternative layout that would actually comply with the accessible route standards and improve the screening
Okay.
from the garage into the cove, but that's not represented on this exhibit.
Are we saying that that request is not going to be adhered to?
So we would agree to make further changes to that walkway area to accommodate the
All right, so
planner's
we'll have to
request.
put those into conditions.
And that is the walkway that leads, so we're clear, from the parking area through the gate.
Right.
Into the public walkway.
Okay.
And before we get-
Anything from you, Sam?
No.
No?
I have a question for Sam.
Go ahead.
Sam, on the new exhibit A2, that's the turning radius of the trucks and stuff. Are you satisfied with those?
Yes, sir.
Because I noticed that there's significant overlap.
Do you mind pointing me in reference to the overlap?
Well, maybe it's just the way the drawing is, but you go to exhibit A2, refuse truck, for instance, which is the outline of the vehicle, which is
On the right?
on the right, yeah, top right.
And I just want to clarify, exhibits A1 through A9 are not new. All we did was number them as they had been marked in the record. They were not revised from what had been presented.
So if you remember in the original application, we had some concerns about everything. This does show, even though there's slight overlap over that curve, it
Okay,
does show.
just as long as you're satisfied.
No, I appreciate that, thank you.
There was one other thing, Sam, that I don't recall about that we talked about the limiting the amount of trenches that we were trying to put on the streets of Cookman and Asbury. Was there an agreement for that, or do we have to wait until public?
Even if there was an agreement, it's going to be a utility company determination. I think if you all are favorable, that our inspectors in our office will work the best that we can in the event of an approval, that we take good faith that we would work together to do the best we can with limiting those trench runs.
Yeah, but we can still put
I
that.
have a condition that we're requiring the developer to request that the water and gas companies minimize street cuts.
That's
Right.
fine.
Correct.
We can put that as one of the conditions.
That's it.
Anything else before we open to the public?
The one thing I feel like I didn't get a full explanation of was this loading zone that isn't like properly portrayed on here. I had asked at the last meeting, and all was said was that there's enough space in the current no parking areas for one. And I don't feel that's true, because one is a fire hydrant, the other is a bus stop, and the other is by crosswalks. So I was just looking for further information about this.
So you are correct about the bus stop one, that there's not enough space for a loading area there. Ultimately, a loading area is not required as part of the application. And so you are correct, there won't be loading in the bus stop, and there won't be loading in front of the fire hydrant.
Okay, thank you so much.
Madam Chair, if you don't mind. So,
Go ahead.
if I may. So I know that we talked about it in our last meeting. Was it looked into? Is it a possibility? I don't know, maybe you have your professional, to get a main onto the property just so they don't have those trench cutouts in each of the rooms?
Sorry, I thought you were talking about the hydrants.
No.
I don't know
So-
the answer to
Yeah, so
that.
basically, the concern is the townhouses, we don't want to have each townhouse have an individual service connection in Cookman. If there can be a lateral that collects them all in the site and then makes one connection out at the street.
Yeah, that depends.
Yeah, ultimately, I do think it's utility. I understand the concern, but
That's
I
a
ultimately
concern.
think it's up to the utility companies. But I understand the concern, it is noted, and we certainly don't want to tear up the streets that the master developer is the one preparing anyway, any more than necessary.
All right, can I get a motion to open for public comment?
Move to open. Second.
Okay, if anybody has a comment about this application, and only this application, please feel free to come to the microphone, and you have 3 minutes to make a statement.
So as you're gonna come up, if you can, it's gonna be a little hard, there's a lot of people, if you can line up maybe behind, so we're not wasting a lot of time in between. But we're gonna ask you to state your name. I'm gonna swear you in. You're gonna have 3 minutes to make your comment as soon as I swear you in. We ask that members of the public not repeat the same comments again and again. So if you've heard a comment already, we're just gonna make sure that everyone gets a chance to speak, okay?
Is the April 17 letter subject to comment right now?
The April 17 letter is part of the record.
Does the swearing in include any negotiation about standing?
No, this is a time to comment.
I believe that you were at the last meeting, and I already made my objection on standing, and I'll reiterate it, and that's enough.
Can we address that before my time starts, please?
No.
My name is Mike
She's
Arvello.
made an objection. You're going to be able to make your comments. The board's going to weigh the comments. The board's going to weigh the testimony, and they're going to make a decision this evening, we hope.
My name is Mike Arvello. I live on South Main Street in Ocean Grove, which the waterfront redevelopment plan explicitly names as a neighbor to the redevelopment area. I have standing.
Okay.
The deputy mayor said...
Mr. Arvello, could you raise your hand, please? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Can I reclaim my time, please? The legal standard for waivers is narrow and unambiguous. Waivers are permitted only where compliance is impracticable because of peculiar conditions pertaining to the land, not market demand, not contemporary aesthetics, not the cost of panels, the land. What this board received as evidence from the planner was indefensible, subjective word salad. These waivers are not peculiar at all. They are copy-pasted from other waterfront projects from this same developer. If the same waivers appear on every lot, they are not a response to peculiar land conditions, they are a business model. A business model is not a legal basis for relief. The applicant's own planner admitted that a conforming design was never attempted. You cannot claim a standard is impracticable. You cannot claim a standard is impracticable if you've never even tried to meet it. An approval on this project is arbitrary and capricious. It is reversible on appeal, and I want that in the minutes. The developer told you market demand justifies these waivers, that designing something beautiful would cost more money. I'm sorry the developer might not get richer. That sounds like a them problem. This community built the design standards into the WRP with their hands and hearts. Tonight, you are being asked to erase that work. If the developer isn't able to meet those standards, they should not have agreed to the plan or purchased the land in the first place. Sorry. The owner of the Empress stood before City Council and said that the project on his block, 110 First Avenue, is going to put him out of business. The City Council is negotiating that project right now in executive session behind closed doors, and I have no confidence that those negotiations will protect the Empress. Tonight's project, 320 Asbury Ave, is the precedent. Every waiver granted here hands future projects the same template. When 110 First Avenue comes before this board, they will point to tonight. The waivers requested flush windows, no masonry, produce lower acoustic performance than the design that they replace. This board is being asked to approve a less sound-resistant building while the owner of the city's most iconic venue and queer institution tells you he is being surrounded to death. I'm asking this board to require as conditions of any approval an STC 50 acoustic standard verified before certificate of occupancy, a deed restriction disclosing the Empress's proximity and noise levels to every future resident, and a pre-occupancy sound study filed with the city. What you decide tonight will echo. The Empress owner warned you. I'm warning you. The record will show who was listening. Save the Empress. No more gray boxes. Paint the town Asbury.
Do I have to be sworn before starting a comment?
You do. If you just want to state your name
Thomas DeSeno,
and address.
3600 Route 66, Neptune is my law office.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
Just to clarify, you mentioned a Neptune address for your office. Do you live in Asbury Park as well?
No, I do not.
So I reiterate the same objection about non-resident
The people
standing.
who care here are you a resident here anymore? They can't live here anymore. Are you allowed to speak? Are you a resident? Okay.
Hold on. I just say this every time, and I do apologize. I cannot.
Just stop apologizing.
I cannot be heard by the mic while also looking this way. So I do apologize if my back is turned to you while I ask the questions. So I'm just putting on the record that you are not a resident. That is now on the record. I have made my objection, and I imagine the board's going to proceed, correct? Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Thank you.
We ready? Are we starting?
Yes.
Thomas DeSeno, fourth generation Asbury Park. There are only two times the law allows a planning board member to be removed for a conflict. He has to have either a financial interest in the project or a personal interest in the project. Dan Shanameo has neither. I've looked at over a dozen cases. No one's ever been removed just for an opinion. It's always been an opinion followed by action on that opinion. And I'll cite the East Amherst case where the mayor was on the planning board. He had some bad opinions, but he also tried to get the developer arrested for committing crimes. And then he actually passed an ordinance that wiped out all their prior approvals. So he took action. Dan Shanameo's taken no action against them here. What Dan did do is give a history lesson factually about the 4 historic buildings of the boardwalk that the developer is in breach of contract for restoring. He never spoke about the planning board, and he only said what the city council could do. He doesn't lose that right by being a planning board member. But here's the kicker. Dan, like you heard him say, he has approved the developer's applications in the past. That's not why they want to get rid of him. They want to get rid of him because he dared to talk about their default on the boardwalk. And they want to silence him like they silenced the artists, the musicians, the Chamber of Commerce, the media, like they silenced everybody. And they want you to see it so you get scared and be silenced too. Don't let that happen. Now, I've tracked this company more than anybody else from the beginning. Okay, not only are they in breach of contract, but we've given them the land for cheap. We fast-tracked their projects. We let them eminent domain our neighbors, and they did. We let them take $50 million worth of infrastructure costs and put it on our children. And they did that, and they still won't give us our beachfront buildings back. They're in breach, like Dan said. You know what else their contract says? That they have to hire people from Asbury Park first. My office has had to threaten its developer for not hiring black people from the West Side. Wouldn't even look at their applications until we threatened the lawsuit. I have the photographic proof that during Pride, they raised the parking to $100 a day, just during Pride, targeting the LGBTQ plus community. Okay, we can't let that stand. We have to fight harder against them. And you know what we have to start doing? Start interacting with condo buyers. Hit their supply and the demand. We have to start, when they have an open house, go there with picket signs and pamphlets. Have year-round advertisement that says if you buy a condo from these people, you're adding to the gentrification and supporting their policies that are anti-black, anti-LGBTQ, and anti-poor people. So let's make sure the buyers can't get a cup of coffee in this town either. Enough.
Thank you.
If I may,
If you could state your name and your address, please.
Yes.
Mr. Beacon,
Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, just if I may, before the time starts. So this applicant is APW redeveloper. This applicant,
Please speak into the mic.
sorry, this applicant,
hear you at all, not one word.
this applicant is APW redeveloper. This applicant is not Madison Marquette. This applicant is owned, as was disclosed, by Asbury Partners. There are many things being said that are truly not about this applicant and are not about this application.
You're all the same.
Please.
This is not,
Please speak up. Please speak up.
I am trying to speak up, and I apologize that my back is,
Please. Let's have some respect.
yes. So,
We haven't been able to.
This is the microphones we have.
yeah, and I do,
These are the
I really
microphones
do
we've had
apologize.
all this time.
We,
We can hear everyone else.
yes,
It's a
so
very strong voice.
because of the way that this room is situated, my back is to the audience, and I apologize because I've said this many times, practically every time I'm here, that I apologize that this mic will not pick me up if I turn that way. So it is not that I want to face this way, it is the only way the mic will pick me up. So what I was indicating is, this is an application for development for a particular parcel. We understand there are people who are making comments about other contracts, about other developers, about other things happening in town. But what I will say is the comments about my client being discriminatory in nature are completely unfounded and have no place in this application or these proceedings.
Next.
Again, if you could state your name and your address, please.
Matthew, is this microphone on? You can hear me?
Yeah.
Matthew Snodgrass, 1120 Sunset Avenue, Asbury Park,
Can you spell your last name, please?
Yes, SNODGRASS,
I'm sorry, I missed your address.
1120 Sunset Avenue.
Thank you.
Asbury Park.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, sir.
Thank you.
So we moved here about a year and a half ago with the idea of the kind of community that we see here today in Asbury Park. We intend to make this our home and final home. And if I could direct everyone to the walls behind Planning Board of the type of architecture and design that embodies the aesthetic desire of the town, that the town puts that forth as the natural beauty of this town and of the city. I think what has been going up lately is directly contrast and counter to that desired design, which Asbury Park itself has chosen to reflect what it shows forth as greetings from Asbury Park. There seem to be two main issues at play. One is the applicant partner's commitment to finishing the restoration of keeping these nice designs that we have and architecture that we have in the city. And the other is the proposed development at 320 Asbury. I do believe they are interconnected because the one thing the planning board has right now, which you will relinquish, is the power. The power indirectly to make sure these restorations are done by what you do in the application of this design. And I think it's very clear as to what your citizenry desires out of this and out of this city. Thank you.
Check.
If you could just state your name and your address for the record, please.
Sure, Joey Dico, Summerfield Avenue, Asbury Park.
What's the address?
516 Summerfield Avenue,
516.
Asbury Park.
And again, could you say your name? I didn't catch it.
Sure, Joey Dico.
Spell your last name, please, Joey.
D-I-C-O.
D-I-C-O? Mm-hmm. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Exactly that, yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm a resident of Asbury Park. I've been for about 5 years now. I'm a member of the music community, a member of a lot of other communities and organizations out in town, and I'm part of a greater interconnected community of a lot of intersecting folks of all backgrounds. I'm here once a month. We've done this before. Some of you on the planning board have not seen me. Hello. As spoken earlier, and as the sentiment of everybody in this room, I'm not here to get technical, but the crowd in this room is here because I believe you folk at the table, whoever represents your developers, whoever's here for you, I know that you are. The citizens of this town, we don't believe literally anything that your bosses are doing here is for the good of this actual community. It's all 100% for the greed of your giant multinational development company. A lot of folks are here to show their support for that. They're here because they want their presence and their voice to be felt. We come here every month and have this discussion. I'm not quite sure it's useful to talk to the planning board or the mayor or the council or anybody like that anymore. It just falls on deaf ears every time. The town may have been bought or sold somewhat many years ago, but we are trying to salvage what little we have left in this community. Your bosses are actively destroying it from us. Every week it's eradicating the gray boxes, the joke concessions that you guys say you're making from the last meeting, the little improvements that the architect said that we get on the building. I believe it was 2 shades of gray, and now we're gonna get 2 shades of brown. So that's very good. That's great. It's very Asbury. We have that in the crosswalk. It's just a bunch of shades of brown and gray. Yes. So yeah, I'm not really here to speak so technical here. I'm just here to let everybody know that you're in this crowd. You're here because you care. You know people that care. You need to tell those people to show up here. No one is going to save this town but ourselves. Do not be afraid to come up to this mic. Do not be afraid to encourage everybody to show up to this meeting. This stuff is going to happen whether we like it or not. We're going to have to show up here every single time and tell them what we think. And I'm watching members of the development party over there smirking as our fellow citizen here made a phenomenal impacting speech, and we got smirks. We have everything that we need to know about how you feel about this town. What you're doing is not anything that's on the wall back over there. This is why everybody's here. This is why we care. This is why we are residents here. Your entire company is not residents here. We don't need to know anything about what you feel about this place. We know you're robbing it from us. And this is how everybody feels. I know you guys all feel this, and everybody feels that similarly. Some people may not be brave enough or want to come up and say that. So I'm going to try to speak for everybody here. We're here because we care. It's very clear, and you've made very clear through every single contract, every single waiver, every single application that you do not have the best interest whatsoever. We are a drop in the bucket on an Excel spreadsheet of thousands of Asbury parks that your company has, and we are all held hostage to that. And we will be now for the rest of our lives because of the disgusting nature of what you are trying to do to this community. Thank you.
Yeah, good evening.
If you could just state your name, I'm sorry, if you could state your name and address.
Vaccaro.
Say it again, please.
I live at 903 Waverly Avenue, Neptune.
Don't even try it. Just don't even try it. Don't do it.
Excuse me. There is a hearing being recorded. We have to have one person at a time. The applicant and the applicant's team and the applicant's counsel has a right to speak. If she wants to speak, when she's finished speaking, Mr. Vaccaro, in this case, will have an opportunity to use his entire 3 minutes. But we need to make sure that the record is clear, please. Thank you.
And so that
Okay.
we don't have
I'm here to test.
Just,
Yeah.
wait a minute.
So that we don't have to repeat it. Going forward, I will assert the same objection now to anyone who is not a resident of Asbury Park, and we can just agree I don't have to repeat it each time, if that's okay with you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. Vaccaro, you're on. You're on.
Okay. I've been called an angry old man, okay? I'm not angry because I'm an old man. I'm angry at what I see going on in my hometown. I'm not an interloper. I'm an anchor baby. I was born here, 1940. I was involved in the original redevelopment, and I think I know a little bit of the history on how it started and what happened. It took years of public hearings, sometimes going into the wee hours of the morning, 3 to 4 hour, where the public had their input on what the master plan was going to be. Now, in a couple of strokes of a brush, you guys want to destroy all that. What's being built today is tomorrow's slums. There's no character to anything that's being done. You may not like what I'm saying, but I'm going to say it. It is wrong. Yeah, I am an angry old man. Thank you.
Dan Shawnameo, 615 Asbury Avenue. I promise to tell the truth. And now that I am unshackled,
Dan, do you swear or affirm that this testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. And I'm speaking as a private citizen, not as a planning board member. And, we could go over all history. I think a lot of you people know it, I did say at a city council meeting that, 24 years ago, we made a deal with the devil. We made a deal. You can have all the condo land, and in exchange, you can restore historic buildings. Well, we've seen the condos go up, and you can like them or dislike them or whatever. But, we didn't get our end, but let's talk about this project. This is the triangle. And I know the developers say, well, it's a, difficult site. Probably one of the most photographed buildings in the world on the site is the Flatiron Building in Manhattan. They didn't know how to do it, and a lot of people complained about it, but it is actually probably the most photographed and painted building, certainly in America, but probably even in the world. We deserve better than this project. And I got to tell the audience here, you have to sympathize with the planning board, because there's certain things that, developer, the application checks these boxes, and you might not like the design and stuff like that. But, you may have to approve it because it's according to the law. And, the planning board members, they pledge to uphold the law and their duty. And they, should get, we're all volunteers. They're volunteers, so they should be thanked for that. They shouldn't get grief. But let's talk about this project. This is probably one of the best sites in Asbury Park. It's overlooking the casino parking lot, which I think is reserved still for a commercial project, should be a convention hotel. Not to be insulting, but we deserve better than this design, than barracks that are going up. I must say, though, they have 2 nice balconies for those condo units. And those balconies, when people are out there enjoying their drinks and having their friends over, they are going to get a great view of the casino crumbling into the ocean and the other buildings. So, maybe you could dress up the design a little better. Something that we deserve. As I said, I'm waiting to be inspired. Thank you.
If you could state your name and address for the record, please.
Yes, my name is Kevin Clow. I live at 1216 Sunset Ave in Asbury.
I'm sorry, can you just spell your last name?
C-L-O-U-G-H.
Marie, you ready? Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I wasn't planning on speaking tonight. I've been in Asbury for about 2 years in November. But after following Mike on Instagram, learning a lot more about the history here, hearing his eloquent words at this evening tonight, and then having that challenge that he's not a resident, that really got under my skin. I just want to say, as a resident, I support everything that the non-residents have said tonight. I wish I could... I wish I could go back in time 10 years ago and help fight this fight when it started. I wish I could do anything to prevent what's happening to Asbury now. After I fell in love with Asbury, I convinced my aunt to move here about 6 months later. She lives at Sunset Square down by, right next to Kim Marie's. Now I've heard from her and also the ownership of Kim Marie's that there's now a lawsuit between some of the owners that live on the north side of Kim Marie's complaining about the sound. Ridiculous. And now we have concrete suggestions to avoid that going forward, avoid that embarrassment, avoid people moving here and being unhappy with where they live and not understanding the areas around them, not even getting a disclosure about that when they move here. The community has provided solutions to this problem. If we're going to repeat these problems over and over again for every new development, what are we doing here? What is the point of that? How are we going to advance as a society? That's all I got. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Gina Savage, S-A-V-A-G.
And your address?
906 Bond Street, Asbury Park, 07712. I am a resident.
Wait,
Yes,
do you
of
swear
course.
or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone that's participating and everyone who's already spoken articulately about the way they feel. I also didn't plan on speaking. I've been living in Asbury Park not a long time, I'd say about 9 or 10 months, but I have been coming to Asbury Park for 30 years. My friend purchased a home on 2nd Avenue, 2 blocks from the Stone Pony. We watched as the convention center, the hall, and the Casino Breezeway were crumbling, and I realized that decisions were made before I was part of this community. But one of the beautiful things about this community is that it is a community. It's a beautiful community, and just like Mr. Vaccaro stated, we're watching these things fall apart, history fall apart. And these developments, while maybe legally within the right to happen, are abysmal to the community. They're an eyesore. They look like little squared off prisons. And I'm gonna tell you that as a native New Yorker, I watched the Village crumble, right? There's one block now, McDougal Street, that has Cafe Wa and the Comedy Cellar and these places. And if you continue to do what you're doing, you will remove the whole reason why people want to be here. And then you'll have wooden structure that'll crumble like it did before the 90s, the 80s, the 70s. And I am telling you, there's no one living in these places during the winter. Nobody. So what happens to the community then? You have a bum rush and then nothing. So that's what I want to say, and that's all I have to say. Thank you.
All right, my name is Chris Turk. I am a resident. My address is 1100 and a half First Avenue. That's Asbury Park. And I am a retail owner as well.
Mr. Herc, can you just spell your last name, please?
T-U-R-K, like Chris Turk Swim, my store on the
I thought you said Herc, so thank you.
Please stop by, it's great. So I want to start off by saying...
Wait, I got to swear you in.
Oh, I thought we did that already.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Of course.
Thank you.
First off, happy Pride, everyone. No one said that yet. Second off, I want to say one thing. Michael over there, who is This Week in Asbury, has done more for this community than any of these people sitting up here who developed our town. Second off, as a person that moved to this town to find acceptance and love, what's happening right now has actually forced me to not even want to live here anymore, and that's sad. The gays are the ones that saved this city, and now you're pushing the gays out of the city because you guys want to build soulless gray boxes. And we ask one request for a color to change, and it's too much for the development team over here. I mean, it's literally like a joke, and I hope that I literally don't know how any of you people and your developers go to sleep at night and can sleep. Yeah, please don't look at me. And I want to say to the town, you can save it. So please be on our side. Please help us out. Please do not allow them to make white boxes all over our town, gray boxes, beige, champagne, whatever they want to call it, and actually step up and save us. Please.
If you could state your name and your address for the record, please.
Sure. Gail, G-A-Y-L-E, Schiller, S-C-H-I-L-L-E-R.
And your address?
317 8th Avenue, Asbury Park.
And do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you.
I wasn't going to speak tonight, but I feel so moved by what I've heard so far, and I absolutely back everything that any non-resident has said. I am a resident. I've been here since 2019, and I just want to share with you why I came to Asbury Park. I've lived in New Jersey since 2000, moved here with my husband, who is now my ex-husband. It's part of the story. Moved here in 2000 from New York City to New Jersey. I was in Morris County, and we had 2 kids there. We raised them there, and lovely town north of here. And I watched with happiness as Asbury Park started to change and come alive. And I was like, woo, what? I have to go check out that place. And about 15 years later, in about 2015, as my marriage was falling apart, and I was totally heartbroken, I would come the 1-hour drive to Asbury Park because I was so desperate to see the ocean and so desperate to see people who felt like hopeful and honest and alive and inclusive and weren't telling me to shut up, I'm sorry, but that's what I was hearing at home. And it's like I felt in maybe different ways, and everybody feels that they belong in Asbury Park for different reasons. If you live here or if you come here, if you have a business here, it is a beautiful, beautiful place. And that is what I felt. And so when I couldn't afford to live in my town anymore, an hour north of here, because of getting divorced, I was like, I'm just gonna move to that place that I go to for day trips and I feel so good in. And so I did. And I've been living here since 2019. And it is breaking my heart because in these 7 years, it has changed in a direction that I was not expecting, especially in these last 2 years. As I walk around and I see these buildings that are just lacking color and lacking hope and lacking happiness and lacking joy and lacking beauty. And I see the residents of Asbury Park like looking kind of depressed about it. I certainly am feeling that way. And I just urge you to realize that there are just so many beautiful reasons through history why people have come to this town and want to be here. And it is not for those buildings. An example, what do I have time? 30 seconds. 2 years ago, I was riding my bike on Kingsley, I guess, and this man was like, "Do you live here?" "Yes, I do." "Oh, because my wife and I are thinking about buying these condos where they're going to be going up here." And he points to one of the vacant lots at the time that they were starting to, and he said, "Does it get busy here in the summer?" And I'm like, this man is thinking about buying something over $1 million and he has no idea what this town is about. Anyway, thank you very much. Today is my birthday.
State your name and address for the record.
Litzy Marino, Litzy, and then Marino's Merino. I live at
Merino?
Mhm.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
So I wanted to give a different perspective. I heard my 90-year-old man over there. I am a 25-year-old angry woman right here. I was born and lived my whole life in Asbury Park. I've lived here 25 years, so my whole life. I grew up learning that Asbury Park, growing up with this in this community. So far, I don't know about you guys, if you guys walk near those new condominiums, it's cold over there when it should be hot. This is damaging Asbury Park in multitude different ways. Not only is it gonna price out a lot of people, especially Black and brown communities, the LGBTQ plus community, in multitude different ways. And I feel like we're not talking a lot about that. Right now, we've seen this part. Next, we're gonna see the west side coming up, where my community grew up. That's where I grew up. And we cannot allow that. And we're hearing our community voices. So I urge the council to listen to your community, not developers. And that's all I got for you guys.
If you could just state your name and your address for the record first.
My name is William Acevedo. I am an Asbury Park resident. I live at 404A Cookman Avenue.
And for the record, do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Indeed, yes.
Thank you.
I have maintained a home in Asbury Park for about 10 years. I was a seasonal resident for 9 of those years and have recently made the decision to live in Asbury Park as a full-time resident in one of those soulless gray cargo boxes, right? And all I want to say tonight is I believe in process, I believe in governance, I believe in community. You can make a lot of assumptions about who I am based on where I live. I am a Puerto Rican-born product of Williamsburg, Brooklyn, New York City. Son of essentially immigrant parents. I am many things. I am not soulless. I am not without passion, and I'm also not without intelligence. Intelligence that can be harnessed, that can be used for what this community would like to advance. But instead, I have been met with cold shoulders and with assumptions about who I am because of where I live. And I think if history has taught us anything, I hope it has taught us that that is not always the most sort of effective assumption to make. I will go further and say that that soulless community on 400 Lake is becoming home to people just like many of you, people of color, people who are in full support of the LGBTQ community, if not members of that community themselves. And I don't think that they are looking for any adverse impact by becoming residents of Asbury Park. So I said recently on social media, which I think is doing harm to the way this is sort of handled. I said recently, say whatever you want about those buildings. You know, I've got my issues with them. Absolutely do. Okay? But it's different to say what you want about those buildings versus who has chosen to live in those buildings. And I leave you with that. Thank you.
Right on.
Hi, good evening. Sarisa Peterson, currently a Neptune resident. However, I work in town. I'm speaking just from direct experience.
Wait a minute.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Where do you live?
I live on 7th Avenue in Neptune,
The address, please. Full address, please.
1210 7th Avenue in Neptune.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
I'm speaking from direct experience as being a former planning board member here in Asbury Park, and from what I've observed in how redevelopment has been handled in Asbury Park over time. In 2015 and 2016, during a major phase of waterfront and boardwalk redevelopment, the planning board's responsibility was not ceremonial. It was to rigorously review applications, traffic, parking, infrastructure, capacity, phasing, and whether proposals actually complied with the redevelopment framework already adopted in the city. The board's authority was exercised through detail and discipline, conditioning approvals, requiring additional technical studies, tightening engineering requirements, and ensuring that commitments made in hearings were written into enforceable resolutions. That is what accountability looks like in practice. From my experience on that board, I can say clearly that the system only works when members have genuine independence to ask the hard questions, follow the record, and apply the law as written, regardless of the size of the project or the identity of the applicant. That independence, however, is not always treated as something to be protected. I experienced being removed from the board along with 2 other members shortly after we raised opposition or significant concerns about certain proposals. That sequence of events is something the public should be aware of when evaluating how independent these bodies truly are. Planning board independence is not a formality. It is a safeguard that ensures that redevelopment remains lawful, transparent, and aligned with the public interest rather than expedient outcomes. When that independence is weakened or treated as optional, then entire integrity of the land use process is put at risk. The board is only as strong as its independence, and the public should expect nothing else. I'll leave you with a quote. It's by June Jacobs. She's an urbanist writer. Cities have the capability of providing something for everybody, only because and only when they are created by everybody. Thank you.
State your name and address for the record.
Jamison Miller, 400 Deal Lake Drive, Asbury.
Deal Lake Drive, you said?
Yes.
Thank you. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Tough one to follow. A lot of tough ones to follow. It's going to be a long night. I know that. We're all buckled in. I appreciate everybody coming out and everybody that spoke already. I moved here in 2012. Year of Sandy. What a great idea. I came in May. I used to be her neighbor. When I saw the Santander, my eyes were lit up. I mean, I'm blown away by the building still, 14 years later, walking into it. I know we have our problems, but the character of Asbury Park is something that's very important to everyone here. And the top of the list of allowances or look the other ways is literally character. They are asking the board and the city to let go of that character for whatever they want to put here. And there's been legal concerns, there's been personal concerns, there's been a lot of things that have been said around here. And I'm just up here to reinforce all of that because I love this community. I was thinking about buying up here. Instead, my father talked me into investing in a place. I was gonna rent, and it turned into, okay, 1-bedroom condo. Now, 14 years later, I just got married, met my wife at Asbury Park Kickball here. It's a wonderful freaking community, and we are that community because of that character. Please don't let the developers say to make some more money and to have some more $1 million condos here that we're gonna plug in as much as we can, that we're gonna give away that character. Please do not do that. Thank you.
If you could state your name and address for the record.
My name is Rick Dilly. I live at 1006 Bangs Avenue, West Side resident. I've been here about 4 or 5 years.
Could you spell your last name, please?
D as in David, I-L-L-E-Y.
Thank you. You swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I certainly do.
Thank you.
I was moved to speak here tonight because of the people before me, but it brought to mind several things. One, an old tome, which is once bitten, twice shy. And I see something repeating here where exceptions are made, accommodations are given, money is changed hands, and the developers get what they want. And I'm unhappy about that. I agree with the former speaker about the character of the town. We're here, we love it, the diversity. It's an amazing place for me at this time in my life and my wife. The second thing I want to think about is the fact that the board has an obligation. They have an obligation to take a stand and draw a line. There's an old saying also that all that's necessary for the bad forces in the world to win is for enough good men and women to do nothing. If you do not take a stand here, where will you take a stand? At the next horrible building, moving containers, shipping containers being built? Man up, take a stand, protect the character of Asbury Park. It's a beautiful place to live. I love the people here. There's always something to do. That's all I have. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Carol Nolte, N-O-L-T-E, 511 Cookman, across from those containers, Asbury Park.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
So I first came to Asbury Park at the age of 4 to ride the teacups with my mother from East Brunswick. And then the next time I was down in Asbury was the first time I came to the Odyssey. And that was in 1983. And I spent many a weekend at the Odyssey and the Owl and the Pussycat and the M&K. Couldn't afford a place back then, but boy, did I not want to live here. And I get it. It was not a great town to live in. And I understand it had to be developed. And year after year, I thought, oh, I'm going to afford something. I'm going to afford something. Well, I only could afford something a couple years ago. But I also knew that you had a master plan. And I respected that master plan. Only to come and find out, as was built across the street from me, that doesn't look like the master plan. And I came here tonight to find out, after I'd seen Mike's video on Instagram, what's going on. So I was really disheartened when 2 gentlemen recused themselves because of threat of a lawsuit, and the rest of you didn't get up and say, we either recuse ourselves or we don't accept you being recused. I have watched a bunch of videos of the meetings here, and I have been to a few meetings here, and everybody pours their heart out, and nothing happens until somebody threatens a lawsuit. So I say to myself, do we have to come together and form a company and file a lawsuit so that the master plan is followed, so that waivers are not granted and variances are not granted? Just follow what you promised us. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Joshua Oxman, Oksman. I live at 510 Fifth Avenue in Asbury Park, which apparently you need to be in the zip code here to have First Amendment rights, so I guess I can talk.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is gonna come from the heart. I spoke here a couple months ago. I wasn't planning on speaking again tonight, but I get so emotional when I hear everyone's story because the beauty of Asbury Park is that everybody comes from a different walk of life in a different place, and we all find camaraderie, whether it's at kickball or the former alley of Kim Marie's or in front of Gold Rush or somewhere on Cookman or making out inside of Paradise. There's always a sense of community and gathering and understanding each other. And that's why I moved here. I have been a Monmouth County resident almost my entire life. I was born and raised in Freehold Township. And I moved here because a majority of this county is extremely Republican. And I moved here for safety, and I moved here for a sense of calm and a sense of peace. And I have so many peers that want to move here from places like Freehold and Howell, but they can't even afford to move out of their parents' homes given the state of the economy. And I'm 30 years old. I'm 30 years old, and I still have peers who can't afford to move here. And it will never happen if you keep approving buildings like this. You know, I think about private equity, and I've been working in marketing strategy for nearly a decade. And one thing that I always question when I'm talking to my clients is they'll say, oh, my product does this, it does that, it does X, Y, Z, 1, 2, 3. I'm like, okay, but so does everything else. What's your value proposition? What are you selling? Why should people care? What's the so what? What's the emotional benefit behind what you're providing this person or this community or this town or this specific group of people? And I can say with my chest, as somebody who graduated at the top of my class, paid my way through college with immense student loan debt, and am lucky enough to live here, I can say with my chest that I believe the value proposition is to completely turn this town into a giant gray box. Because when you assimilate a community, there's no abrasion, there's no upset, there's no lawsuits, there's nothing to, build character. But pushing up against culture is what Asbury Park has done for decades, and that's why people want to come here. But it can't continue like this. And you have an opportunity tonight to take that stand, and if you don't, I feel sorry for you. And I don't know how you're gonna go to bed at night. Maybe it's a lot of Ambien, I don't know. I don't wanna make assumptions because I swore an oath or whatever, but it's time for us to take a stand. It's a community, and we can only protect ourselves. We're living in fascism right now, and this is a beautiful pocket and a safe space in this country, and we need to protect it. Thank you.
Jenny Kocher, 301 Sunset.
Could you spell your last name, please?
Kocher.
Thank you. You swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
So I've been living here for about 5 years, grew up down in Brick. Came here again for the community. I love city life, I love the beach. This was the best of both worlds. Besides living right here, I also manage 2 stores on the beachfront. So again, the architectures, that's why we're all here. For those of us who didn't grow up in this town, we came here for the community, we came here for the architecture and the character that was here. Everyone spoke for all of us as residents. I'm gonna speak for the tourists that come into my stores. as much as we're gaining, we're losing twice as many because of this construction, because of what we're losing of the character of these buildings. We're losing that. Every other customer that is a tourist that comes in, when it's not like that busy time on a Saturday or Sunday, they're asking what's going on, what's being built there. I'm getting all these questions of what's being built there, what are they doing here, why did they take this away, why are they taking that away? Like, how are you guys affording this? Like, I work in town, I live in town, I am almost about to be priced out myself. And when I get priced out, I don't know where I'm going to go, but I still need my job, then I can't park. That's the whole reason why a lot of us can't find employees, because of parking and this and that. And we need the character to stay and for that economy to happen, or otherwise, in the winter, we are the quiet months in the winter. Our tourism is only in the summer. We're building these places for what? Just people to live there for 2 months out of the year? I'm not saying everyone. Some of them are going to be living there year round, and that's fine. And that's great. And they're moving here for this character that we had, but we're destroying it. So that's really all I have to say. I'm horrible at public speaking.
Joseph Chrissy, C-R-I-S-C-I, 1117 Asbury Avenue, Asbury Park.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do. So I wasn't planning on speaking today, so excuse my discombobulation. I'm a 17-year resident of Asbury Park. I manage Paradise Nightclub and the Empress Hotel. When I moved to Asbury Park, I bought a house here because of Asbury Park, because of the people here, because of the community, because of what it looked like. I loved the Metropolitan. It was one of my favorite buildings. I loved the Baronet. I was very sad to see them both go, but I understand that things have to change. But they have to change the way you told us they were going to change. The master redevelopment plan has red, yellows, and oranges. You said we can't do that. Look at Wesley Grove. That's what red, yellow, and oranges is. I didn't even realize that until I looked at it. I'm like, oh, it's there. It actually looks nice compared to the rest of these things that you guys are building. Build something that looks like the town. Stop building something that looks like Long Branch or wherever else in the world. This is Asbury Park. When I go on vacation, people are like, oh my God, you live in Asbury Park, you're so lucky. And yes, I am lucky, and I want to stay lucky, and I want it to look like it looks. I don't want it to be a mess. And you're making a mess out of something that's beautiful. So that's all I have to say, I'm sorry.
Mike Neal, 700 Asbury Ave.
And how do you spell Neal?
N-E-I-L-L.
Thank you.
Just like everyone else, I wasn't really planning to talk, but listening to the same story.
Wait a minute.
Oh, sorry, I swear.
By now, everyone should be following directions, okay? Do you swear or affirm? Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
It'll be the truth.
Thank you.
So, like everyone else, I came to this town because once you came here, how could you leave? Coming back, I'm here in different clubs on my end, Fast Lanes, The Saint, all the fun rock clubs. My wife and I bought a house here. It was built in 1904. I have gone through the last 6 years of taking every piece of wood down, stripping it back to natural, putting it back up, redesigning a house that looks like Asbury Park. I saved the slate walkway when they tried to put the concrete in. That has already been destroyed because of salt, because again, planning and not planning properly. Let's change all the sidewalks and then destroy them in 1 year by salting. Another beautiful idea. Anyway, when I tried to get a CO in my house, I couldn't get it passed because I moved one 8x8 block to square off a patio in the backyard, too close to the property line. But we're gonna let these developers come in and do whatever shit they want because they want to give us money. They're not giving us money. My taxes have gone from $9,000 to $27,000 in 3 years. Because the developers are coming in with these deals and they're not paying. I apologize for the cursing, but I did say I might swear a little. You gotta just do the right thing. Stop them. Stop letting them put all this garbage up. Everybody agrees. We want it to look like those pictures. I'm spending every day fixing a house. I'm thankful to this community. Somebody compliments me every day. Can't believe what you're doing. It looks great. Makes you feel good because you're part of a community. But then this crap goes up. I don't mind the people who are moving into it. I want to say that to you, and we all apologize if we were trying to say something like that. We're not soulless. So you just got to do the right.
It only looks good because you decorated.
You do. But you all have to stand up. Look at our mayor. Look at Dan doing the right thing. You all better vote this down because it's absolutely ridiculous. And I do have one last thing to say. I have to outdo the birthday girl here. It's my 24th anniversary, and I'm here to stick up for the community before I go home and take my wife out for some food.
Hello, my name's Sarah Borkevich. Get your pen ready.
I'm ready.
BORAJKIEWICZ.
And your address?
412 Main Street. If you look out that window, you can probably actually see it. Asbury Park.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I swear.
Thank you.
So I'm a liquor rep in town. I used to be the brand manager for Asbury Park Distilling. That's how I started my career. I've lived in town for now 6 years. I've been working in town since about 2018. I'm probably one of the reps that keep your hospitality businesses alive year round because we're so slow, because not enough people live here year round. There's plenty of us liquor reps that live here that probably keep those businesses open for you. Speaking of those people, because I work so closely with them, and I understand hospitality industry, and I understand that history repeats itself. The moment that you start pricing out hospitality industry people is the moment your city dies. When you do not have people that live and work here that run those bars, and they have to move out of town, they will look for other jobs. This is one of the best hospitality scenes in the country. And I don't know if you guys realize that. When you start pricing out those people and they can no longer live here, this town will die. It needs to be affordable. You guys need to do better, and you need to hold them accountable. Thank you.
Bianca Bertoli, 1110 Fifth Avenue, Asbury Park.
And if you could just spell your last name, please.
Bertoli.
Thank you. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yep.
Thank you.
I came here right out of high school in 2011. Since then, I have been an employee, a resident, a homeowner, a business owner, a lover, a patron of Asbury Park. I have been here ever since. I would also like to speak on behalf of all the former residents of Asbury Park who have been priced out of town because of people like the ones you see ahead of us. I don't want to waste a second of my time begging or pleading with developers, and I hope that you guys don't either. It is their job to wring the soul out of a town and line their pockets with money, and they are very good at their job. It is our city government's job to stop them. It is the planning board's job to put measures in place. And I understand that you guys are volunteers, and I understand that your power is limited. What we are begging you to do is use the limited power that you have to hold their feet to the fire. Everyone else has to follow the rules. They have more than enough money and more than enough time. Why give them an inch? Why make it easy for them? They should have to follow every single want and need of the community. That is what you are here for. I'm begging you to do so. And I also really want to keep in mind, yes, I am very concerned about the hideous gray boxes. And yes, they have more than enough money to make sure that the buildings can look like the ones you see behind you. They can do it. Make them do it. But I also want to remind everyone that Sure, the building can be beautiful, but what happens when the people who move into those beautiful buildings start making noise complaints against the Empress and Paradise and all the other local businesses and destroy them? Look at what's happening to Kim Marie's. Look what's about to happen to the Wonder Bar. Do you think that people who are gonna buy $4 million condos are gonna listen to a rock show all night? Of course not. It's gonna be a disaster. We all see it coming. I know you see it coming. Please use the limited power that you have to put measures in place to protect what we actually care about in Asbury Park. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Robert Kahn, 600 3rd Avenue, Asbury Park. I just wanted to...
Wait, could you spell your last name, please?
C-A-H-N.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
I just have one comment. I recently, like Mike Neal over here, went through a renovation on our house. And when we went before, we submitted plans, and we had quite a problem with zoning. And all we wanted to do was take one window out of our house. We have 50 windows in our house. And we were told, this is the rule. You need to comply with the rules. So we had to redraw our plans, move our kitchen around, hire an architect to redraw everything. And we complied with that. And I don't understand why we're bending over and just, we're asking for things, for character. And I know it's a negotiation. There's a lot of give and take, but this seems to be pretty important to the community. We spent a lot of money on our house, redoing the outside to keep up the Victorian look of the house, the wraparound porch, more money than certainly we were planning to spend. But but the point is, we contributed back to the community by restoring the house. And, I think anyone entering this town should have that same threshold. I mean, they should also be responsible for putting something up that's of good character. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. My name is Jessica Desmond. Do you need me to spell that?
If you could, please.
It's D-E-S-M-O-N-D. My address is 1104 Sunset, and I'm also here representing my mother at 206 First Avenue, right next to the Triangle.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
So I grew up here in Asbury Park. This is my hometown, and I'm gonna get emotional. I love all of you, and I love this happening. My father had a business in the Berkeley in the early 80s. I worked in the gift shop for Rita Moreno. My mom she used to work here in City Hall. She is retired. She wanted to come tonight, and she said, Jess, go. It's important. So as I sit here and I hear all of the stories, it touches my heart. I look at the pictures and I'm proud. I'm so proud of all of us and Dan. Dan standing up, speaking his truth, and really saying what needs to be said for this city by the sea. And I ask people, why do you come here? Why are you here? What brings you here when nobody was here? Okay, we've changed, we've developed, and there's a lot of beauty in that. But what is Asbury about? It's about the art, it's about the people, it's about the ocean, It's about the east side, the west side. It's about everybody, the diversity, right? We all come together, we feel safe, we can speak, and about the beauty. So, Convention Hall is a castle on the beach. There is a breach with the programming, the planning here. What was promised to us was to restore. So I'm asking the board, can we stop until those buildings are restored? Bring the casino back, bring Convention Hall back, bring Paramount back, so we can see art. We can make this town colorful, because it is, it's not going anywhere. And bring the artists into these gray buildings and let's color them. Let's make that part of the planning. Artists come into these buildings, have affordable housing for the arts, because art isn't just about painting, it's about the restaurants, right? It's about the shops, the special shops that we have on the boardwalk that make it so special. So bring the community together and let's make this town more special, because I love it, you all love it. So let's please find a solution.
Anyone else?
Excuse me, I'm disabled and I have neuropathy, so I have to sit down.
Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
My name is Joseph Meany, last name's Mean with a Y on the end of it. I live at 1000 3rd Avenue, apartment 311.
I'm sorry, your address again?
1003rd, apartment 311. I'm a 2-year resident of Asbury.
Wait.
Oh.
Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Thank you.
I have a few questions. I know this to be a tourist town, and yet every time somebody gets up that doesn't, quote, live in this town, standing comes up. Yet the whole idea, you'll have postcards from behind you that you would have sent home when you visited here. They are the influx of money in the summer, these tourists. So if they make a statement that they don't like a new building because now it's not the seaside town anymore, don't say they don't have standing. They're your bread and butter. You need them to say these things so that you do not do the wrong things and price them out, build the wrong thing, and not have any visitors anymore. I mean, I hope you crank out the money from these new condos because you're not going to have any tourists. It's just less and less and less tourists. I don't know how your tourism bureau works, but they might want to talk to you sometimes about some of this, because I think they would have a lot more input than I do. But I see a lot of this happening, and I just don't quite wrap my head around it. Then things come up here that I'm like, well, I heard this and then I heard that. Before there was a loading zone, they had talked to New Jersey Transit or had made something. Now there's no loading zone at all. I looked at a few things. They're going to hold 4 weeks worth of recyclables in the building before it goes out. Would you like to have that around you anywhere? Where are they putting this lovely recyclable for an entire month for these rich people? My brain just gets wrapped around all these weird facts, and I'm like, no. So, I mean, you obviously need a loading zone. You see people double parked that deliver liquor or whatever on the boardwalk, and that's only a little service. These people are, not a little service, so you have to plan this. If you don't plan that, you don't get a building. If you don't have a loading zone, you don't get a building. Simple, very, very simple. Just don't let them have it till you can give them a loading zone. I'm disabled. You're supposed to make, with ADA, you're supposed to make the easiest transition possible. New Jersey Transit buses are handicapped accessible. The bus stop is right there. However, that particular person would have ease of access. No, the person that walks up the stairs does, but the handicapped person has to go around the block to get up the ramp to go up there. They have the least easy access. You have done the opposite of ADA compliance. You have made it impossible for them to go. They are not rushing to get there when you send them down the street. You have no disabled parking. You have not asked for curb cuts. You have not done any of this stuff. So if somebody wants to hire a disabled employee, they don't have the ability to park. And they certainly aren't going to go strolling in when they're coming down with their wheelchair. They might have a van, they might have but I don't know. I can't wrap. You have a few things you have to, check marks you have to make, and they're not making any of them. And you're like, okay. So
the best I can do. I'm sorry if I wasn't eloquent, but at least I got some facts out.
Anyone else? All right, motion to close public comment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Do you have any final comments?
I do. Thank you, members of the board. So I'll go back to where we started at the beginning of this application. So this is an I'm sorry. Trying to get there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm right here.
So I will go back to the beginning. And this is an application for minor subdivision and preliminary and final site plan approval. This application does not require variances. We meet the height. The application also meets all the setbacks. It meets all the requirements in the waterfront redevelopment plan for lot size, lot width, lot depth. It meets the requirements for parking. It meets almost all of the requirements. The waterfront redevelopment plan has pages and pages and pages of design requirements. And we've put in front of you the list of ones where we do need relief. But that doesn't mean we don't meet the vast majority of what's in the waterfront redevelopment plan. And like I said, critically, all of the bulk requirements and all of the use requirements. A lot has been said tonight about frustrations in the city at large, and we understand those. But this is an application by one developer on one particular lot.
You're all the same.
Excuse me, members of the public. The public is closed. If you're going to speak up, we're going to have to ask you to leave. So please do not do that. There's a record being kept. The floor is to the applicant's attorney at this time, and you cannot shout out, please.
And the applicant here has gone through a process. We talked about that at the beginning. And it's not a situation where these plans were deposited last night or 2 weeks ago. We started the process for designing this property back in 2022 when we first submitted to the TRC. And there were many things along the way that we were asked to change, and we did. As I said at the beginning, we went from over 150 units down to 67 units. We went from one large building to 3 smaller buildings. We included more parking to make sure that all the units had the adequate amount of parking. Along the way, we were asked to make changes by the council after public meeting after public meeting, and we did. Now, I understand that there are people here who would like to see all development stop. There are people here who would like to tie this application to development rights that are held by others. This applicant does not own the pavilions on the waterfront. This applicant does not own the casino. What this applicant owns is this applicant is a designated developer for Block 3801. We've put forward an application that we believe vastly complies, like I said, with the exception of a few design waivers. And it's an application that where the public has had the opportunity to weigh in over and over the course of 4 years. We believe we've answered all of your questions when it comes to providing things like additional landscaping or additional fencing or buffering. And we've done what you've asked in that respect. So tonight, we hope that you will consider those 2 hearings. And of course, consider everything that you've heard here, but taking it together to look at what the obligations are of a planning board, which is have we met our burden when it comes to granting minor subdivision approval for conforming lots and site plan approval for a project that complies with the use and bulk requirements. And so with that, we will rest our case.
Sure. You've been asked to, if we could just take a 5-minute break, please? Motion for a 5-minute break?
Second. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi. All right, so I'll take roll call so we can get back into session. James Bonanno. Here. Councilwoman Clayton. Jim Henry, Jen Souter.
We could, nobody heard you.
Nobody can hear anything. I'll start from the beginning again. Okay. James Bonanno.
Here.
Councilwoman Clayton.
Yes.
Jim Henry.
I'm here.
Jen Souter.
Here.
Kathy McLaughlin.
Here.
Vice Chair Mike Goonan.
Here.
And Chairwoman Kurzak.
Here. Does anybody from the planning board have any comments that they would like to make, or any questions? I think that you did.
I'd like to hear which waivers we are considering for this project, because I mean, that's kind of what drives our opinion on it.
Okay, can we get those? Can we review those?
Do you want to review?
I'll close everything, sorry.
I have your report if you want to read that.
Oh, do you have mine? I mean, do you want to go over them since,
So we,
you read them as your professional had addressed them?
so we did have our professional planner address each one.
Oh, no, we were just like, just if you could just
Yeah,
listen.
just a list.
We don't have to go over
You
that
said
again.
some were addressed, this one, which ones we're still on this.
Right, but so some of them though, as part of the testimony, were decided weren't applicable.
Yeah.
So that's why I want her to.
Okay.
Right, take a look at which ones are
Recap,
not
yeah.
applicable.
So we'll go down the line. I'm gonna read this list. Okay, all right. Just want to, so we had reordered them a little bit. But-
Okay.
So we had, the first few relate similarly to building configuration. So we have the building configuration standard from page 64, and that is that cantilevered balconies must not
Ms.
exceed.
Smith, could you just speak a little bit louder?
I'm sorry. So we have the building configuration on page 64, which pertains to cantilevered balconies, must not exceed 3 feet in depth. The balconies on the townhomes and the multifamily buildings are inset, as opposed to being cantilevered. The building parts, and this is, by the way, not meant to restate anything or supersede anything that our expert testified to, but we had building parts also on page 64, pertains to multiple balconies to be confined to the rear, whereas we have balconies on the front facades of the buildings, including the balconies and terraces on the mixed-use building as well. Then we have building frontages, that the middle of the building should be differentiated from the base by a transition line. Here, we have the multifamily and mixed-use buildings are proposed to have brick material covering the majority of the base floor with wood-toned fiber cement paneling on the exterior of the upper floors. But the design of the townhouse buildings don't provide the transition line the same way the other two buildings do. Attached elements, that's page 66, indicates facade colors should be selected from the yellow to red quadrant of the color wheel. We have facade colors on the mixed-use building are compliant in that they're white and wood tones. The townhomes and residential, the building have blues with wood accents. We have building frontages, indicate that a roof is flat. It should be designed as a terrace. All the buildings that have flat roofs with both residential-only structures have terraces, but the mixed-use building doesn't have a rooftop because it has the terraces on the lower levels. Attached elements, the building should have the name of the architect. This one actually we agreed we would comply with by putting the name of the architect on the building. The next few are grouped are building frontage elements from page 63. 62 through 64. So building frontages should be a primary contributor to the experience. Here, we do have building frontages with mixed use at the corner, but on the townhomes, there's residential on the ground floor, as well as the multifamily building has residential on the ground floor. We have garage doors facing a frontage must be a maximum of 9 feet. We've indicated in the past that that standard is generally a 9-foot garage door for a small residential opening. We're proposing for the mixed-use building to have a 2-way driveway. So as a result, the garage door is 24 feet instead of 9 feet. Actually, it might be, whatever the number was that was given in testimony, less than 24 feet, but greater than 9. Also on building frontages, next one, sorry. Shop fronts must have a continuous kick plate measuring 18 to 42 inches high. Here, the commercial fenestration of the base should not be less than 70% void. Here, the commercial fenestration of the mixed-use building only is 48%. There's no kick plate or bulkhead along the base of the commercial space fenestration. We talked about the glass, but no kick plate. Also along building frontages, the base frontages should fall under categories in descending order of their positive pedestrian contribution. Again, this is similar to the one I just stated. At the bases of the buildings, we have, that we have the base of the building being used in the mixed-use building for commercial and also for the garage. So a portion of it is the garage on the lowest level. Okay, and then we get to windows. That windows should be rectangular with a vertical or square proportion, and this is true for the majority of the windows. However, we do have some where the height to width to create a variety of windows don't necessarily comply. Windows are required to have a 4-inch post. I'm sorry, we do comply with that one. And then we have windows, except for storefronts, should be operable as hung. We testified that the vast majority of the windows here are operable, but that some of the windows, because they're so large, are not operable, but that the majority of the windows are in fact operable. And then we have that windows should be flush with the interior wall, not the outer surface of the facade. Here, the windows are flush mounted, and you heard testimony from our architect concerning how that relates to wood construction and the mounting of the windows. And then finally, that windowsills should be present. We don't have windowsills. So the vast majority are things like windowsills, window size, where we have a variety, not just the same sizes, and then the fact that we do have 3 different building types here. So most of these waivers don't apply to every single building, but some apply to one building, some apply to other buildings. We've chosen to put in more glass on the commercial fronts instead of putting the kick plates in, and we heard testimony as to all of those.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from any other planning board member?
I just have a question about the minnow plan set. On page 13, there is the lead checklist, but I don't know if it's like a PDF issue or not, but there's only, or if it was intentional, I'm not sure, but it's only a portion of the checklist. It like doesn't include 3 of the categories or the totals. Like it looks like a page may have been cut off. I don't know if it's a.
And so that's for the multifamily building, the 5-story one, correct? So we do have that also attached to the subsequent developer agreement. So as a condition of the subsequent developer agreement, there was a requirement to provide those sustainable elements to meet certain standards. So if it's cut off there, I can provide another copy, but the sheet A13.
Like on my side, it just ends at A13, but it doesn't show energy or water efficiency or the totals.
So the second page for that sustainability is here in the agreement, which is my way of saying that we are complying with what we're required to do under the subsequent developer agreement, which is to provide the sustainability features that are equivalent to the LEED Silver standard.
But I didn't get to see that, but it's on the website.
I can give this to you now. I'm just not sure if it's legible. Yeah, my copy's very, very tiny.
Okay.
But we can provide a copy of the subsequent developer agreement.
It's in the application materials.
It's in the application materials?
Yeah. It's
Even
in, it's in
better.
the application materials, the original application materials.
Okay. But not in that set.
Not in what?
It's just not in the set that I have.
It might not be in that A13, but in the initial submission, because that developer's agreement was executed before it even came to the board.
But I'm saying for the planning board, I got that originally?
I believe so, yes. Correct?
It's in our package.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mine also went to 813.
So meaning the original, when the package went in for the original meeting, the first meeting? But then the A13 is a different thing? I'm probably looking at
I don't know what the
minnow
whatever
plan
exhibit
set.
number is. I don't know what they.
Yeah, it's not an exhibit number. It's the, is it the architectural plan you're referring to
Yeah,
as
the
A13?
minnow plan set,
Yeah.
and at
Yeah.
the end of the set is sheet A13 shows half of the checklist.
Yeah, but in the original application document itself, it was submitted.
Page 70.
We can ensure that you get that before resolution files, for sure. For them to
I have a
specifically
little
give it to
minor
you.
one. I thought we were going to come back to site plan tonight, but if there's anything new. One thing I never got to ask was mailboxes for the multifamily and the mixed use. We know they're inside. For the townhomes, I'm assuming USPS will require you to have an outside thing that's not a group thing mailboxes. That's not on the plans. So just, would you guys be amenable as a condition to just have to coordinate that with the board planner, where that is and how it's screened?
To show where the mail delivery will be?
Where the mailboxes will be for the townhomes.
Yes.
Anything else? Before we review some of the conditions?
I'm sorry, to go back, there are totals on the lead sheet that's in here, but if we're missing anything, we'll obviously update it as need be.
So the original, but not, I think whatever we have for this meeting is cut off at A13. I don't know. So it just shows integrated process, location and transportation, sustainable sites, materials and resources, and IEQ, and then it ends. So it's just like probably one sheet is missing.
We'll make sure that gets updated.
Before we review our list, it was really nice to hear everybody talk tonight. I often think about why I love Asbury Park so much, and it's really, really hard to put into words. And a lot of people put it into words really beautifully tonight, in so many different ways. Asbury Park is historic. And I'm so glad everyone's here tonight because we all care so much about this town and what happens to it. And I think everybody in this room thinks about what levers can we pull to make this town develop the way we want it to develop. And for a lot of you, the lever you had to pull right now is coming to this meeting and speaking. I think about what levers I have to pull a lot. And I have very philosophical thoughts about this town and what can we preserve and what is this city going to look like in 10 years? What makes Asbury weird and how do we keep it that way? And I love that we're all here thinking about that, and I love we're having those conversations. When I think about this application, I think Jen said it very well. Is what levers am I asking to be pulled tonight? Am I going to pull it or not? And it's for the site plan and a subdivision. That's what I'm being asked to judge tonight. And the municipal land use law governs a lot. What I, as a planning board member, get to think about that, which may or may not be different than what I think about that as a citizen. But I think, just something I want to say is a lot of people spoke and you talked at us as you people should do something. And I kind of just want to say, we're all the same people. We're all citizens. We all want what's best for Asbury Park. And just because the levers we may or may not have to pull are not necessarily the ones you think we have. What we're talking about tonight is not how do we bring down housing costs. It's not, we don't get to talk about parking or traffic or a lot of other things that I care so much about, but are not what we're voting on tonight. Those of you who come to planning board meetings before, they're usually very boring. We usually talk about lighting and driveway tiles and the height of a knee wall and where a planter is going to go, and it's very technical, and we all care a lot about it. Our professionals care a lot about it, you know, we as a planning board do our best to make sure that these projects comply as best they can. Something I was thinking a lot about when people spoke is we should hold the developer, hold their feet to the fire, make them comply. Why do you give them an inch? And I want to explain myself as to why I give the developer an inch sometimes. And that's because you can say if it's not in the plan, it's a bad application. I don't feel that way. The plan, the waterfront redevelopment plan, has brought a lot of development to Asbury Park when 25 years ago, people didn't want to develop here. So maybe there's good things in there, but there's also things in there that I don't love. And this developer could have come to us with something that I really, didn't like. They could have brought an 8-story building, but it's yellow and red and completely out of character, but that doesn't require any design exception. So I do have to say that the developer has been working with the city for years and years. We got something that is, I think, much better scaled than what they could have built. And because there is this dance of, are they going to give us something? Do we give something back? And again, I'm talking only about the specific project. That's why sometimes, yes, I will vote for design exceptions, even though if they're not in the plan, because what did they give us? They gave us something much less dense when we all already think there's too much density. It's a give and take. They're not asking for any variances, they're asking for design exceptions. It's a different standard. So that's all I wanted to say, is like, I really enjoyed hearing everyone speak tonight. I hope I see some of you guys out at Boardwalk Boogie and we can just talk about how Asbury Park is going to progress. And depending on how this vote shakes out tonight, I don't want people to think that we're you people, we're some other people up here that aren't listening or don't care. The fact that we spend hundreds of hours poring over plans tells we really care. And for this particular project, we are very much bound by the waterfront redevelopment plan and all that goes with it. And whether or not I like something or don't like it, my vote tonight is going to be me trying to follow the law and do what's best for the city, in my opinion. That's all I want to say.
Jeff, would you like to go through the resolution compliance, or you would like me to start?
Well, why don't you start? I've been going through my notes just to make sure I don't miss anything.
Okay.
So if you want to start.
Okay, I'll do that. And some of this will be also based on, even though that the developer did say that they would do it, some of these things will probably be just like, you know what, let's just reiterate that.
And just understand, just because we're talking about what conditions there might be, these are part of the discussions that we have had over the courses of 3 meetings. Obviously, you have not voted on it yet. Mm-hmm. So when it does come to a vote and a motion, whoever makes that motion will make that motion whether to approve it with conditions, whether to deny it with conditions. If there's a second, we'll do a vote on that. When you do vote, obviously, please make sure you identify the facts and circumstances that support your vote. Okay.
All right, so some of the items for resolution compliance having to do with the Public Art Commission and the approval of the, whatever will be at the point of the development, at the corner of Asbury and Cookman. We want we want to put something in it that the applicant shall request to limit the trenches that would be on Cookman and Asbury, that they shall make that request.
Street cuts.
Street cuts. So that we don't have to pave it numerous times. There were some places that on Cookman that where the illumination was a little higher than the 0.1 than we normally have, and that does not include the streetlights. It's just a little bit closer to the building. If we ensure that everything is a 0.1, which we've mostly have, I saw that there were just a few minor ones that we could just fix that up. So that the compliance is a 0.1 like we have to make sure that there is no spillage.
So what's our condition? They have to submit a revised lighting plan to be approved by?
To ensure that the lighting plan has no additional spillage beyond a 0.1.
Correct.
That does not include streetlights, because obviously the streetlights and anything that we want on the pedestrian walkways, you want people to be safe.
That has to do with overlapping of lot lines.
Yeah.
Got it.
Right. We'd already spoken about ensuring that there's no light that is going to go through those 14 spaces, that's not going to go through to the cove.
Can we make it stronger?
Sure.
I mean, they were supposed to add a fence. They said
Yes, they were going to add a fence, I just want to make sure.
I think the condition should be that a fence is added at the end of the townhouse drive aisle.
That's fine. We ensured that, I know that you'd mentioned that the windows, that most of them are operable. We had made a statement that at least there was one per room and no closets in the dens. We had discussed sensors in the stairways so that there is no illumination onto the streets. So when someone is in the stairway, that's fine, but when they're not in the stairway, we don't want that illumination into the street.
Just in the multifamily.
Just in the multifamily. We had spoken about the lead, can we put a condition in there that we have the lead checklist before, actually, we want that lead checklist before we approve any kind of, before we approve the resolution. Right? Because it should be in the packet. We're not sure what the situation is there. I'm sure that the planning office has it, but we just don't see it. And we also have a condition about the mailboxes, that you work with our planner to make sure that where the mailboxes are and that they're shielded.
I have a few more.
Go ahead.
There's supposed to be paver bands between the townhome driveways to be approved by the board planner. That the sidewalk connection to the adjoining sidewalk on the western edge of the property will be adjusted and coordinated with the board planner. Important one, we said that every unit in the multifamily building must purchase at least one parking space.
Oh, yes. Via deed, that everyone is deeded at least one parking space.
Architectural plat to be included on each building, you already agreed to. So every application, we always say, obviously conditional approval by the DEP, but one in specific we wanted to put in here was that the brick facade below the elevated boardwalk on the multi-use building is approved by DEP, which is obviously a given, but we said we put it in separately.
The flood vents?
Yeah. And then the only one that I have on here that I had as additional info needed was we had said we wanted more bike storage in the multifamily building. I'm not sure how to put that as a condition. If we just want to say, James, we need at least storage for at least one bike.
You could do that. You could say one bike per unit. Depending on if the space for it, I don't remember how big the room was.
Or maybe we just say increased bike storage to be approved by the board planner. Something like that. What do you think?
I think that would be fine. It's only Ramadana. I don't have a problem with that.
It was at the original meeting.
Okay.
Donna, can we leave that one with you?
Yeah.
To be approved by you. That's everything on my list.
Did anybody else have any other items that we did not cover?
I have a few.
You have a few, go ahead.
I do. So there are going to be some cross-access easements. Obviously, they'll have to be approved by the board attorney and board engineer. I have a comment here about no stone against the sidewalks, but can be between buildings 1 and 3. That's, okay. That's good. The developer has to obtain all will serve letters. Talked about the assigned spaces. Developer has to provide Title IX agreement with the city. I'm sorry, Title 39 agreement with the city. Developer will comply with the planner's plant material remarks. Pedestrian crossing area shall have warning signals. The plans have the grills, we're okay with that. Originally, I don't think they had the grills for the garage doors. Has that been modified?
I have window grills.
But they're compliant.
We're supposed to get a sample.
Okay, so that has, so the garage door has to be reviewed and approved by the board planner. Okay,
But also the grills that are in the garage openings.
right. Both the garage doors and the grills in those openings, correct. The 14 spaces that are along the property line to the west, I guess that would be, shall be managed by the management company and never sold. I don't know if you said this directly, but every unit must have at least one deeded parking space,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Okay. The retail space shall have a common hallway to access the refuse room. I have a comment here about Unit 1 will need to have a screen bulkhead. Do you remember that?
I can help. It is the rear balcony on Unit 1 where it faces the multifamily building. We'll have a screen to shade
Okay.
the ability to see into the adjacent window.
Okay.
Privacy screen.
Privacy screen.
Privacy screen, yeah. Right, that was to balcony on Unit 1.
Correct.
Yep.
There shall be a plaque affixed to the building that shall be provided and reviewed for approval. And that's all I have.
One more in there, if you agree, Jen. So you had mentioned that public art has to be approved by Public Arts Commission.
Correct.
Another developer has burned us and said it was an option for public art. Can we say you're required to have public art in that triangle?
Yes, it's required to have public art.
It's required.
Yes.
Yes.
It is in the subsequent developer agreement.
It's required. Okay.
Jeff, the standard provisions, approvals by outside agencies.
Oh, we'll always have, yeah, those general comments if there's any outside agencies. Obviously, one of the comments was the flood vents that they have to be approved, some of those things. So yes, any outside agencies who still have jurisdiction and oversight, that shall be part of resolution compliance, if the resolution is approved.
Are we including a clause about their staging plan and how it has to go through my department, or are we going with?
So I think that's part of the general comments that we have, but we'll certainly, obviously, add staging plan as part of the overall resolution, or overall approval process.
All right.
Yes.
And the staging plan is actually also attached to the subsequent developer agreement.
Yeah, but there's probably some daily or smaller things that aren't involved in that.
Understood.
So something we haven't discussed as a board is this loading zone thing. Another one I'm very ambivalent. We add a legit loading zone, we're going to be taking away public parking. So I would prefer not to take away a single public parking spot. I'm just curious like what other people's thoughts.
I don't want any loading zone at the building.
You don't want a loading zone?
I'm not a fan of loading zones at these kind of buildings. I understand they need it in commercial areas, but not on this. They have a large lot they can pull into and do whatever they have to do.
pull into their lot, block their own drive outs?
Yeah.
Go.
I'm happy with that.
That's fine. Okay, we have it all?
Any comments? Yeah.
Okay. All right. Can I get him, sorry?
I was going to say, you want to ask for a motion?
Sure. I'm going to ask for a motion to approve this application based on all of the conditions that we just mentioned.
I'll do it. Motion to approve with the conditions as outlined.
I'll second. Give on seconds.
So again, remember, as you're voting, if you again can just provide the basis of your vote and summarize the facts and the salient provisions of the waterfront development plan that are applicable to why you're making the decision that you're making.
James Bonato?
Yes, I feel the majority of this plan fits into the redevelopment plan, and there are the zoning. The few waivers they've asked for are less serious. I don't love that, we're not going back with the colors just because we don't go back to council. But we did get a lot of other concessions and other things of that nature that I think even out.
Councilwoman Clayton?
I'm also voting yes, and I think that Michael has stated my feelings very, very well tonight, so I want to thank you for that.
Jim Henry?
When I asked the architect about the compliance with the master plan, I got less than a satisfactory answer. Primarily, my questions revolved around building number 3, and I'm trying to figure out how I could vote for half of the plan and vote no for the other half of the plan. And I can't do that very well, so I'm going to vote no for the entire plan.
Jen Souter?
I want to, thank everybody for working for so many years on this project, and for everyone in the public spoke beautifully and shared their passion. What Mike said is true. The board members up here have a lot of passion for this town here as well. That's why we're here. And I also, in this case, I'm going to vote no, and in part because there's a lot of design waivers. I think that the developer did work very closely with the city in making the changes that were requested. I wasn't part of the TRC. I didn't actually agree with a lot of those changes that were, in a different process that I wasn't part of. I feel like there are too many design waivers. I have concerns with building 3, and the design waivers in particular are around for the other buildings, but in building 3, I also have concerns about access for, which I know is a separate issue, but in terms of the public getting access, if there are mobility issues, having to go around the back. I also had concerns about safety with the exit and the entrance, with the pedestrian access and vehicular access. I know there were changes made to try to accommodate that, but I still have concerns about that.
Kathy McLaughlin?
Yes, I mean, I appreciate everything that everyone has contributed this evening. I think for many of the reasons that Jen cited, I'm going to vote no.
Vice Chair Michael Goonan?
For the very long-winded explanation I gave earlier, I am going to vote yes.
Chairwoman Kurzak.
Because of the waterfront redevelopment, the compliance to the waterfront redevelopment, and what was not built with the higher density, very much like Mike had mentioned, and the waivers that are being requested, the design waivers that are being requested, I'm voting yes.
Motion carries 4-3.
Thank you.
Motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.